It's good to see that the youth have picked up on this, and it's with a passion that you are presenting to us tonight and wanting to participate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, before we begin, we would like to thank the Mayor and the City Council for giving us the opportunity to address you today. We'd also like to thank Tim Sandry, Mary Hurleman, and the entire Commission for your support and for the wonderful work you've done so far.
My name is Marissa Dauner, and I'm a senior at Thomas Jefferson High School. I've lived in Bloomington for most of my life, and I love this city. I work at Bush Lake Beach, I run in Highland Park, and I spent countless hours as a child swimming at Bloomington Family Aquatic Center, playing baseball at Kent Herbeck Fields, and learning how to play soccer and lacrosse at Westwood. I truly want to see the city continue to improve and be a leader in addressing climate change. In the future, as I start a family, I want to know that the world my children and grandchildren grow up in will be as healthy or healthier than what I've lived with. I hope that they will live in a more aware world where they will never have to deal with the effects of climate change.
My name is Elena Hayday, and I'm also a senior at Thomas Jefferson High School. When I was 7, my family chose to move from Minneapolis to Bloomington because they wanted my sisters and I to grow up surrounded by nature and the beautiful parks we have in our city. Much like Marissa, I've become deeply connected to the world around me. I grew up taking my dogs to Bush Lake, biking and running through Highland Park, and hiking the trails at Richardson Nature Center. Nature is something that is incredibly important in my life, and I credit my parents for giving me this appreciation for the world around me. I want to be able to do the same for my own children someday, but it frightens me that due to climate change, this may not be possible.
Ever since I first heard of iMatter last February, I have been inspired to challenge our city to have the courage to do what's necessary to protect the future of the youth of Bloomington and do not just what we think is politically possible.
I am here today because I believe that climate change is among the most pressing concerns in today's society. When I learned about iMatter, I immediately wanted to become involved. It is so easy to feel powerless against such a huge issue, especially when we are too young to voice our opinions through ballots. iMatter empowers young people by showing us that we can make a difference by taking the first steps towards healing our planet. Climate change is a very political issue on the federal level. For this reason, we aim to make our footprint here in our own city. Consider, if each city takes steps to minimize its own net emissions, it will be possible to begin reversing damage more quickly and perhaps with even more precision, since plans can be modified to fit local needs and circumstances.
We ask that you pass a climate inheritance resolution for Bloomington because we will inherit the climate left to us by older generations. We're asking that the resolution include a commitment to develop a climate action plan with a goal of net zero emissions by 2040. This means that change has to be made now.
We have the opportunity to make that lasting change here, but it must happen immediately. Since 1970, temperatures in Minnesota have been climbing 1 degree each decade. Climbing temperatures have caused less snowfall and subsequently more rainfall. In the Twin Cities area, we now receive 15% more rain than was the average in the decades preceding the 1960s. Additionally, ice melts almost 2 weeks earlier than it did a century ago. Climate change is not an elusive issue or one that can be ignored. It is one that is affecting us every day in all areas of our state.
We all know that climate change is real. Now, with the help of the City Council and the Sustainability Commission, I hope that we can make an impact that will create a lasting difference in our community. What my friend and I are here to ask for is for the city to draft a climate inheritance resolution calling for net zero carbon emissions by the year 2040. This would also include more student involvement in the city, specifically with 2 voting seats on the Sustainability Commission. It's not about what is possible, it's about what is necessary to protect these future generations of people. After all, we are the generation who will begin to face the consequences of actions made by past generations. It is our future, and we feel like we should have a say in it.
Yes, it may initially be costly to make decisions that benefit the environment. But to look at it from the perspective of economics, there is a cost and a benefit to every action. And the costs of inaction are far greater than the cost of reducing emissions, and the benefits reach much farther than extra cash in the pockets of the city. Every time we increase carbon emissions, there is a negative externality that is not accounted for in the city's budget. So in limiting the use of fossil fuels by encouraging alternate decisions, we are effectively correcting this negative externality. So while some costs will balance out financially when we do not have to spend money correcting issues later, all costs will eventually balance out in the context of bettering society.
Now is the time to make a plan for net zero emissions. It may be difficult, but it is certainly possible. Grand Marais and St. Louis Park have already committed to net zero emissions by 2040 with the help of iMatter. Specifically in St. Louis Park, We know that their city council sees that every step to reach their goals is not exactly crystal clear, but they have shown the courage to adopt the goal and make changes as needed. Today we brought the St. Louis Park Climate Action Plan, so it's right here. And it was passed last Monday. Now we ask you to do the same with our city. The more that we do, the more we will change what is politically possible. We must make meaningful decisions now to shift away from fossil fuels, and more cities will follow. I've been a part of iMatter for nearly 1 year now, and after several months of being on hold with the city, it is now time to work together. We simply cannot wait any longer, or else the damage caused will be completely irreversible. There must be another way to approach the challenge, and it can be done together.
We challenge you to ask yourselves, is it a matter of politics or actual feasibility that limits this decision? I urge you now to look at the situation from our generation's perspective and understand that this simply must be done.